Welcome to the A Monday Moment with Dr. Mal podcast, where each week I, Dr. Mal, share life lessons and motivation to kickstart your Monday. Whether you're starting your day or winding down, join me or me and my future guest for a burst of positivity and a fresh perspective. Let's make Mondays meaningful together. Greetings and happy Monday, everyone. I'm your host, Dr. Mallory D. McCoy, and welcome to this week's episode of A Monday Moment with Dr. Mal. As always, may this broadcast bring you what you need in the present moment. May my light exude positivity and kindness, and may my love be extended to all who could use a little extra. Ashe. Let's seize the moment. Today's show is the last one of a series of shows I've done in March titled Business Queens of Kansas City. We're wrapping up Women's History Month, and for me, since I moved through life as a Black woman, it's important to me. I'm also an entrepreneur myself, and I just happen to have a few businesses up my sleeve, including Bell's Garden. And the whole mission of Bell's Garden is centered around Black girls and women. I've literally made Black women my business. Plus, this podcast primarily streams on the Alive Podcast Network, the first Black-owned, woman-owned podcast network in the nation. I also support Black-owned, women-owned businesses when I can. Y'all need to know how serious I am about supporting Black women entrepreneurs. And so by dedicating my shows to Black-owned, women-owned businesses here in Kansas City, I have had the pleasure and honor of interviewing 4 incredible women. Shout out to Lenora, shout out to Stephanie, shout out to Jessica, and shout out to Dr. Sewellen. These women are powerhouses, and every one of them dropped so many jewels and so many dimes. They are true business queens, and my views to my shorts say so. So honestly, for this episode, I was going to feature my own business because people often ask what I do. The name Bell's Garden doesn't actually allude to what it's about or what it is, and so I was going to tell you I can just do it at a later time. In fact, no, you can go catch the news story. Shout out to Carissa Parker, who is a friend from college. She's a producer on a local news station, and she ran a story and it was talking about Bell's Garden. So I didn't need to do a podcast because she already did a segment on the local news. And so I'm incredibly grateful for that. Anyway, I pivoted and everything worked out how it was supposed to because I could not pass up talking about this event that I attended at a local Black-owned, woman-owned business right here in Kansas City. That one event changed the whole trajectory of my whole entire life, and I can't wait to share with you about it. So now, you know I love me a good definition, and I'm team #facts over feelings. So let's get into it. The history of Black social clubs in Kansas City, spanning both Missouri and Kansas, is a vibrant tapestry woven through decades of community building and collective empowerment. Back in the 1920s, these clubs sprang up to serve, advocate, and socialize. And by the 1940s through the late 1960s, they were thriving. Groups like the Beau Brummel, the Saturday Night 16, the Kansas Cityans, Twin Cityans, and many others offered regular social hours, events, and activism. This wasn't just for weekend fun. It was a way of fostering connection, upliftment, and unity in Black communities that often had nowhere else to turn for support or fellowship. So fast forward to today. The Blakk Company aims to carry out that legacy. Born from the tumultuous summer of 2020, when the name George Floyd became a rallying cry around the world, the Blakk Company was officially founded that August in response to systemic violence and the lack of safe social spaces for tackling tough conversations. What started as a men's-only club soon evolved. By 2022, it was co-ed, open to both men and women of color, and committed to serving youth of color in order to create a sense of trust and healing across generations. In 2025, the Blakk Company is doubling down on its mission to preserve the history and demonstrate the importance of inclusive social spaces for Black and Brown communities. Its roots run deep in the purpose once carried by the social clubs of Kansas City's past, to stand as a beacon of hope, belonging, and forward momentum. This vision would not have come to life without two dedicated founders, Christina Williams and Dr. Tamela Ross. Between Williams' background in business entrepreneurship and cosmetology and Dr. Ross's commitment to wellness and mental health, they've worked since 2020 to ensure our communities have a place to feel uplifted, empowered, and encouraged. Membership is wide open, inviting everyone to join in, led by trailblazers who believe in the power of connection and growth. From its historic beginnings to revival championed by visionaries in our own era, Black social clubs remain an inspiring testament to what can happen when communities come together, not just to celebrate, but to uplift one another. And that's exactly what the Blakk Company does. It stands out as a modern torchbearer for all that social clubs in Kansas City have represented for nearly a century. Hope, unity, and strength for the future.
All guest podcasts are titled What They Want You to Know, and my intention is to dive deep into the minds of experts, thought leaders, and fascinating individuals to uncover the one thing they truly want you to know about their area of expertise. I intend to unapologetically and unequivocally center the voices of people from powerful groups targeted by oppression. However, if there are other community members who can interject on the topic, they'll be invited to the cookout too.
This week's guest is actually the Blakk Company, and although I'm sure I could have asked Christina or Dr. Tamela to join me, I just pivoted to speak about their business because I had a life-changing experience there last Wednesday. So Christina and Dr. Tamela, consider this podcast a Google review. I want to start by saying I have known about the Blakk Company for a while. I've known about them since 2020, but I had not patronized their business because it wasn't open to women. It was only open to men, and rightfully so, because men needed a safe space to be able to feel free and have communication there. But when they opened it up to the public and they were at a different location than they are right now, they were hosting game nights. And so for my 39th birthday, I decided to support them. I invited all of my friends to the game night. So I didn't have a formal birthday there. I was, just going to mingle with whoever decided to show up, but it ended up being all the people that I invited. And let me tell you, we had such a blast. But what I remember most was that Christina and Dr. Tamela were so accommodating, because at the time they sold food. I don't know if they currently sell food, but at the time they did. And most of the people that I invited out were plant-based. And that didn't deter them. They were so accommodating and were like, what do we need to go get so that we can accommodate you? Like, that's how accommodating they were. They were willing to leave their business to go get food to accommodate us. And that's, to me, is something that goes above and beyond what is necessary. A lot of businesses, if I show up and I say, well, I'm plant-based, they don't have anything to offer, the conversation stops there. But with them, with Christina and Dr. Tamela, the conversation did not stop there. They were ready and willing to accommodate us. And so we had a beautiful time, had so much fun. We got to play a game that I was introduced to there, the culture tags, and I just won't forget it. I have some amazing pictures from that time too. So I'll have to show them off, or even show you a picture of their space, because the space is just so beautiful. Listen, Christina and Dr. Tamela, I need the number to your interior designer cups. What, baby? Y'all bring it. So fast forward to last Wednesday. I should preface my story by saying that right now in my life, I'm in a space where I feel automated. So I feel like a lot of the decisions that I'm making are God decisions. They are decisions that are coming directly from my consciousness, but it doesn't feel like it because it feels like, oh, I'm doing this, but I'm asking, why am I doing this? And then I just do it. So this was one of those things. I was checking my email. And if you have Gmail, you know that they have tabs at the top. They have primary, updates, social, and promotions. And promotions are normally the last, or it's not a tab that I check a lot. Sometimes I'll click on it to see, what if there's coupons or anything in there, but more often than not, it's junk mail. But for some reason, on this day at 2:30, I decide to check it. And the first email that was there was talking about the Boss Up series. I clicked on it and read through the email, realized I had missed 3 weeks of the Boss Up series. So I was sad about that. But then it said, in order to be able to be a part of it, RSVP, it's free, which free is speaking to me right now because whew. Anyway, so I call my live-in partner and I say, hey, are you able to be at home right after work because I would like to go to this event? He says, yes. I get off the phone with him and then I RSVP. And then in between like 2:30 and 6, I was like, I want to go, but there were some things that were happening in between that time. And I was like, I don't know if I'm actually going to make it. But he got home at like 5:55 and then I left at that time to get there. It started at 6, or that's what the RSVP said. And so I was boogieing down the highway and it was about 17 minutes out. Anyway, I get there. I was sitting in the car on the phone, but I finally get inside at like 6:30. And I was like, oh gosh, I've missed some of it. I missed none of it. I walk in, first of all, it's in the basement of the building where it's at. It's at the Wonder Room. So you have to go in, get buzzed in, and then go down. It's exclusive. Go down the elevator, got to the bottom. I was greeted at the front door by the receptionist. She wrote my name down. And then I walked into the room and just, if I can describe it, everywhere you look is something of Black culture. Like it's almost like being at a home away from home, but you don't know that that's your home. And so it's like you walk in and it's just so beautifully decorated. There's so much to do, so much to look at. And so I looked to my right when I walked in and noticed that there was a table. And, I just told my story about being accommodating. And I was like, in my head, actually, I didn't say it in my head. I said it out loud. I say out loud, I wonder if that's vegan. Because I saw there was a salad, but then I saw some other stuff around it. And then I walked up toward the front of the room and I look to my right and I see Stacy Hardman. Well, Stacy Hardman is a local chef and her brand name is She's KC Vegan and she makes vegan food. And so she stands up and gives me a hug and she says, hey, go get a plate. It's vegan. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I hadn't eaten yet. So I was wondering if the food was vegan and it completely was. And so I got to throw down on Stacy's chickpea tuna mix, which I don't like to call it tuna salad. So it's a chickpea salad that's made in the style of tuna. And I do make a good one, but whatever spices she put together, baby, I was trying to eat my fingers because it's so good. You got to check her out. She's on several social media platforms, Facebook, TikTok. She's KC Vegan. And she also hosts local cooking classes. So if you're in Kansas City and you're thinking like, hey, I need to learn how to make some stuff and I need to learn how to be healthy while doing it, she can help you out because she throws down. Anyway, the food was amazing. As I'm eating the food, I'm looking around at the aesthetics. The music is playing in the background. It was old school music. And actually, it was the Isley Brothers. I want to be living for the love of you. So I start singing it. And then other people around me start singing it. Other women around me start singing it. And then the song switched to I will love you anyway. even if you cannot stay. So I start singing, and then other ladies around me start singing. Everybody was singing loud, and I just love that. I just love being in a space where people can freely sing and nobody's caring about anything. I had chips in my mouth, but I was singing as I had chips in my mouth because I told you I was tearing up food and I was just taking in everything. So it was like just so natural and free. That was the beginning. That was just the beginning, though. I literally just came in and sat down and had that experience. And then it was so beautiful because Christina went toward the front of the room and she announced that the panelists were coming in to the panelist area and that we should stand and celebrate them. But they didn't just walk in, they danced into a song, This Girl's on Fire by Alicia Keys. And the power of this moment, I cannot describe to you with words the power of this moment. So shout out to Stacy. I texted her. I saw that she had posted this in her stories. I just asked her for the video and she just sent it to me. So thank you, She's Casey Vegan, for sending me the following video. So, right? If you can only imagine the energy in the room at the time, I'm sure you could feel it through the video. That was the energy for the whole entire time. And I felt while I was there that God knew what I needed to hear because each and every panelist felt like they were talking directly to me. I know you've been places before you've been like, how do they know? How do they know? But I literally felt like each one of them were speaking directly to me. And they're entrepreneurs, but they've overcome something in their life. And every time they spoke, there were so many gems dropped. These women are incredible. I'm thankful that I got to see them and hear them. And now I have connects. There was one who has a special needs son and a spiritual advisor. She's going to be my spiritual coach starting in May 2025 because I felt her, baby. When she came in, I felt her energy. Her energy just took up the whole room. I love being around people like that because sometimes that's me, but that time it was her, and it was just so beautiful. I can't wait. And then there was another woman who owns several real estate businesses, and I just linked up with her. I'm like, hey, this is what I got. She's like, boom, I got you. Like it was just so natural, so amazing. Another woman was in tech, and I loved watching her because her energy is so big and boisterous, and she was so authentically her. She works in a job where she doesn't have to code switch, and that's a dream of mine. Like, well, it's not a dream anymore because my dreams are coming true in my business, but she doesn't have to code switch. She can be exactly who she is wherever she's at, and that's beautiful. And then another woman, her job fired her, laid her off. And then so she decided that she has a skill, barbering, and she created a whole studio salon of barbers, a woman in barbering. So, and then the last business owner that was on the panel, she and I actually have connected before. She's a nurse practitioner in the area and she started her own business. But her spirit is just so beautiful too. And she actually dropped a dime that was big. And I forgot how she said it, but it was to the point like, we're going to go through some stuff, but the suffering while we go through the stuff is optional. And I was like, yeah, we get to choose when a situation is in front of us, we get to choose how we react to the situation. And so earlier that day, I was talking about having faith and having blind faith and being moved in faith. And then this beautiful woman, a few months shy of 80, pops up and sings a song about faith. Everything was just so divinely connected. And if you've experienced that where you're just like, this connects, this connects, this connects, this connects. I've been having an abundance of experiences like that in my life right now, and it overwhelms me. It overwhelms me because it's almost unbelievable the goodness of it all. I have to say that what I loved most about the experience that I had at the event was that the room was mostly Black women, with the exception of two Black men, but there was Black women of all ages, from beautiful little baby running around to junior, seniors, and beyond. My new friend that I text back and forth, she's 73. She's a retired fashion designer here in Kansas City, busted down several doors to become the only Black fashion designer, or the first Black fashion designer featured in a local magazine, KC Fashion Lab. And so we've been texting back and forth as she's been sending me her fashions, and she wants to start teaching children how to sew. And so I hope that I'm able to help her, because I was like, you could just get on TikTok and just do some sewing things online. And so she was like, I don't know how to do that. I'm 73. I'm like, girl, we can help you out. So I just cannot speak enough to just how incredible this was. And by the time I was walking out the door, I had so many emotions in my body that my body could not properly process them. So I was shaking. I literally was shaking. I couldn't even hold my purse. I felt like smiling. I felt like laughing. I felt like crying. I felt like love. I felt like joy, all at the same time. It was so many different things. My body was like, what am I supposed to do now? And joy was at the center of it all. And when I think about it, I just felt like I could just explode with so much joy. And I haven't felt like that in a while. I experienced joy in my life, but I haven't felt that level of joy in my life for a long time. And so I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful that I've made so many connections, young and old. I'm grateful that I have a Rolodex of people I can reach out to be guests on my podcast. And what I love most was that at the end, the whole room got to stand up, introduce themselves, and say what their business was. It was just so powerful. I was in a room of so much power, and I had no idea just how powerful the room was. And what I appreciate most was that there were even barrier breakers. Black women, first Black woman to do, first Black woman to do, in the room with me. They were the pioneers. They helped to lay the path so I can do exactly what I'm doing. So I'm just so grateful that I was led to be in that moment. It was a moment that will stay with me for a lifetime. And I am not over exaggerating when I say I can truly say that that moment changed my life by experiencing just those 2 hours with all those beautiful ladies. So I say all that to say, thank you to Christina, and thank you to Dr. Tamela for creating a space such as this. I know the power of counter spaces that allows for powerful groups of people experiencing the same oppressions to safely congregate and be themselves. In fact, like I said, I started my business, Bell's Garden, for the same reason. And just like how your business started for only men and now has extended to have women to be a part of the social club, maybe one day my business will extend beyond Black girls in suburban and predominantly white spaces. But I'm starting there because that's what I'm an expert at. I'm not an expert in the experience of other people, because personally, I was a Black girl growing up in a suburban and or predominantly white space and had to navigate that. And so the Blakk Company, this story, it is the perfect wrap up to this podcast series. I have been highlighting Black owned, women owned businesses right here in Kansas City for the month of March. And my purpose in doing that was to not only honor their entrepreneurial journey, but also to let them know that the community has their back. We have each other's backs. That's what building community is all about. That's what the Blakk Company is all about, building and elevating community. We can go without each other, but it's so much easier when we go together. So let us all stay connected and keep empowering each other to be the best for ourselves and for our community. And here's my Blakk Company brochure, theblakkcompany.com. Here is the back, the Blakk Social Club. I love, I love, I love. Well, that's all for me this week. I'm forever honored that you tune in. Before I go, a brief announcement about my business, Bell's Garden. We have our summer programming available for Black girls here in Kansas City. Visit our website, bellsgarden.co, that's BELLSGARDEN.co, to sign up for the virtual and in-person parent informational sessions and to sign your daughter up for our classes. Next week, I'm switching gears. In honor of Autism Awareness Month, I am the mom of an awesome, beautiful 8-year-old son. I'll be talking about a podcast that I listen to and how it directly relates to my son. Listening to this podcast changed my life and how I interact with my son for a lifetime. You don't want to miss it. Until then, love and peace to all of you. Have the best week. Thank you for tuning in for a Monday Moment with Dr. Mal, now proudly a part of the Alive Podcast Network. You can find this show on the Live Podcast Network website and app, and you can find this podcast streaming across your favorite podcast streaming platforms. If you love to have the visual, you can tune into my YouTube channel, When Mallory Lives, to see this show and catch up on all my shows from the beginning.